like what they're saying, potentially there's some truth, but they're saying it in like an unloving way, and it's really challenging because when we look to Christ, for me anyway, that's truth and love kind of perfectly combined. So like how do we kind of piece these two together?
Yeah, that's a good question. And of course, you reference Christ. What does he say? Be wise as a serpent, as light as a dove, something like that, right? It's like, yeah, I get that, right? Like, you don't back off like the serpent. You lay low, but you strike. You say what you have to say. You still inject your venom, right? But you make yourself sort of, not a fighter, right? Like you're doing it. You're doing it in a wise and congenial way. I don't know, man, because like look at Andrew Tate, who's become like the most popular guy in like the quote unquote men's movement, right? And I don't watch him. I've seen a couple of his videos and I know why men follow him, because he's charismatic and he's got a big mouth and he's willing to say hard things that need to be said. I mean, Christ did that too. Christ said a lot of really based things, like, how could you say that? And like, he just said it anyway. Like when he refers to himself as the Son of Man, I think a lot of times it kind of goes over our head, but it's a reference to Daniel, which is basically, that's when he's saying he's God. He's saying, well, Son of Man has no place to lay his head. And back then, when people heard him say that, they're like, "Ooh, you can't just go around throwing that word around. Like, you're claiming to be God." And so it's like, it's true, but and it might hurt your feelings, but it needs to be said. There was a couple other things. I was watching the show The Chosen, which I think is pretty cool. Some people have a problem with it, but there was a scene, I forget where, he says, I don't remember what it was, but it was like so based I had goosebumps. Like one of the Pharisees was asking him, they were trying to like condemn him, and maybe it was this, where they were trying to condemn him. They wanted to push him off a cliff and like kill him, and he just like walks up to them and he's like, "Today's not the day." He just walks right by them. It's like, that was like a slap in their face. Or like when he was in the temple with them, just all these allusions to being God. Like, he was ridiculous. He was incredibly based and would say things that he knew was going to piss people off in the name of truth and because of love, right? So I think, I brought up Andrew Tate, that when people are so hungry for the truth and they see it in a very contrasting way, like a very sensationalized way, it's like a wake-up call. It's like an alarm clock. Like it doesn't sound good, it doesn't feel good, but it's like, damn, but I'm awake now. Like, I needed to hear that. I'm not putting myself in either of their categories, but I know a lot of videos I've made in the past, one of the comments that I would see repeatedly over and over again was, "Elliott, I hated you when I first saw your videos." They hated me because of the way I was saying things, that they didn't like what was being said. And of course, I have a harsh tone to me. I just talk loud. But then I realized, they were like, yeah, 6 months later, they come back and they apologize. And like, but then I realized you were right this whole time. I just wasn't ready to hear it. So, we can get caught between this. Like, I think I would err on the side of being too aggressive in this day and age than being too passive, because everybody's trying to play nice. Everybody wants to get along, and this is the part of the gynocentrism, where if masculinity is going to make its way back, which it is, it's God's plan anyway. It's the guys who talk loud, the guys who talk big, the Andrew Tates, whether he's right or wrong, that are going to spark that masculine excitement in men, and they're like, "Whoa, okay, yeah, that's right. Feminism is from hell. Now I understand why. I'm happy someone's saying it."